Welcome to the Leafy podcast, helping real estate investors and entrepreneurs grow. Say hello to your hosts, Jennifer Goglorick and Brian Price, founders of Leafy Legal Services, teaching you how to protect your assets, grow your business, and manage your wealth. Let's start the show.
Hey there, Leafy podcasters and the Leafy family. This is Jennifer Goglorick, the COO of Leafy Legal Services, and your host today for Leafy Podcast. Tammy and Brian were unable to be here today. So I just want to give a great big Leafy welcome to today's guest. We've actually spoken to them before because he has a new ebook, The Mission of Multifamily. He is a multifamily expert, and we absolutely love talking to him because he just has so much information about multifamily. He's a missionary himself, and he learned through his life how to become a multifamily investor. And so I just want to welcome Ellis Hammond to the show, and that's Ellis with kingdomcapitalist.co. So welcome to the show, Ellis. We're so excited to have you here.
Yes, excited to be back. It's great to see you again. And man, so much has happened. That was early when we came on. Really was kind of transitioning out of my role as a full-time pastor and missionary, and now we're full-time, in the multifamily space. So excited to be here and hopefully bring some real value today.
Yeah. So remind us, for the people who didn't see the other show, because I think I was on your show then, tell me a little bit about how that journey happened for you. Give us a little brief overview.
Yeah. So like I said, we started a nonprofit out in San Diego to help kind of build communities of faith across our city on college campuses. And for all intents and purposes, I was a missionary. I raised all the money that we needed to support our nonprofit, which we love what we did. But I just got to a point in our career where we realized we needed a better vehicle to really build wealth in, to create cash flow through. And so we just got hungry to figure out, what are the vehicles out there that we could use to generate wealth? And that's when, long story short, we stumbled across multifamily real estate. And what I love about this vehicle, and is what I share in my book, The Mission of Multifamily, is that, and I think it's my story as a missionary, as a pastor, that I wanted to find a way, to create a better way to build wealth, a more predictable wealth building strategy. But I also wanted something that could allow me to continue to live out this mission of, how do I not just add to the bottom line, right? But how do I also make money while making an impact? And I think the hardest transition for me was, moving from full-time pastor ministry into the world of entrepreneurship and investing. Was I always thought those things had to be separate.
I think a lot of people believe that. I think people, when they go, wait a minute, you're a pastor and you're a minister, and now you're this landlord. 100%. And there are some very big limiting beliefs people have, because automatically they think, okay, but if you dedicate yourself, you're supposed to be starving. That's how you're supposed to live. And that's not biblical. That's not really how it's supposed to be. But yet there is this disconnect. There are this old 1980s sort of attitude in this world that greed is good, the Gordon Gekko, and that is completely at odds with our new world of people. Collectively, our conscious is moving away from that because it was so toxic and had so many ramifications. The entire crash of 2006, 2007 was because of that attitude. We're going to give you a 100% finance loan for a multifamily. That actually happened to our CEO, Brian Price. He had a 100% finance loan for a triplex there in LA. They were just giving money, and of course they couldn't afford it. He was actually not bringing up enough in rents to pay for his mortgage, and he lost his shirt. It's an incredible story of how he lost his shirt. If he would have had the right structure in place and the right things, he wouldn't have, but people didn't know that because there were so many predatory people out there. So now the tide's changed and all this information is trying to come out, but people still have that limiting belief that you cannot be abundant and successful or be a business owner and still live a godly life. And that is just not true at all.
I think that's a huge point. I'm so glad you bring that up, because that's a huge part of what I write about, because it was a huge part of my journey. I think for most of us, we have, I talk about a couple steps that we have to do in order to really begin to see that capital equals influence. And one of those things is realizing the baggage that we bring into this concept of wealth building or making money. And some of that's good and some of that's bad. For me, it was a lot of bad, right? And I just, I look back at my my life, and I see how money caused tension and division between my parents, and the disappointment it caused in my dad's life, and he passed away at 55 still worrying about money. And so all of these things really added up to this belief that, man, money was evil and that I'm not a good steward of it. And so I ran away from it. I went into the mission field. And so it was beginning to kind of rewire my brain to see that no, capital does equal influence, and that we can actually be the master over money, and instead of money having mastery over us, if we learn how to really steward that, if we learn how to really use it as a tool to accomplish the mission that we have for our lives. And so that's what I'm about in this season of life, is saying, no, I want to make as much money as we can. Right? Because now I realize how money works. I know how to create it, build it, multiply it, and then steward it in such a way that can have tremendous impact on others. And so that really is, honestly, the mission of multifamily. Is we're building wealth through multifamily real estate to help our investors, but then to also have tremendous impact on people's lives, on cities, on neighborhoods. And really, really excited for this new season. It's like nothing has changed. I mean, we're still making an impact, but now we're also able to make money.
Yeah. See, I love that. I love that you're able to say, I want to make as much money as I possibly can because I know how to grow it. I know how to make it. And now I know how to be a good steward of it. Yep. Being a good steward of your time, talent, and your money is important. And it doesn't always mean to spend it all on other people. Maybe you can spend it on providing jobs. Maybe the way you make money and then you take it and you renovate houses to stop our homeless crisis, or you're able to go into neighborhoods and revitalize them, and then neighbors who just stopped having pride in it or felt unsafe in their own neighborhood. Right. When you put it in with people who love it and take care of it, then all of a sudden all of neighborhood pride comes in, because it isn't just you. I've seen 2 or 3 houses being flipped in a neighborhood that was really going under, completely changed the attitude of the entire neighborhood. 100%. Of, hey, look at this, because you can't do it alone. As a solo owner of a house and everything starts going bad and more crime comes in, or you have bad owners that leave and they don't vet the renters and then they cause problems, and then it's just like, well, the system's set up against me. I mean, you just have this terrible feeling. But a really good investor, when you come in and you have a good mission and you are a good steward of your money, your time and talent, you can make such incredible changes. And that's why I love all my fellow real estate investors and and people like you. So now that you've transitioned into multifamily, you're doing that full-time now, or are you still doing your missionary work and pastor part-time?
No, we're full-time investors. I mean, we lead our mastermind community, which really serves active operators and sponsors in the world of commercial real estate. And so we have a community now of over 25 members really there. But so, I mean, in some ways I still have a ministry where I'm really serving kind of here, but no, we're full-time focused on really serving investors, operators in both of our different businesses. So we're full-time sourcing deals, raising capital, and then, like I said, we have a kind of a mastermind community for those who are actually putting the deals together. So we serve both private or passive investors, folks who have their own job and doing their own thing and just looking for a way to invest their capital that is increasing their returns but also making impact. And then we have a community that is really serving those who want to be more active in the real estate world, putting deals together, things like that.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about what's going on right now. I mean, we're in day 5,000 whatever of the day 15 to stop the spread. So the world has changed. And unfortunately, what had been a really incredible rental market is in many major cities is changing rapidly. And real estate investors have challenges. They have unique challenges, but we also have some very unique opportunities that people are snapping up. Tell me a little bit about how you're helping your investors now with your mastermind navigate this new world that we've been thrown upon us.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, honestly, right now, I think for everyone, it's capital's really not an issue. There's not a short of capital in the world. A lot of investors are looking to place capital. I mean, I get on the phone every day with people. Hey, I got $100,000. I got $250,000. Like, I got this money I just rolled out of my 401k or IRA sitting here. The tough thing is where do we place that right now? Because there definitely has been a how should I say, a dry up of deals. Like there's definitely been a lack of deal flow since COVID-19. So I think part of our community is just having, like, seeing what other people are doing to get deals done, or maybe even partnering together so we can help place some of this investor capital into projects that we're working on. So several people are partnering on stuff together. So that's definitely one way, and just figuring out, like, you know, what are the deals getting done, because there are definitely stuff that is still transacting on the multifamily side of things. You know, I mean, I think with the election coming up and worries about policies, and so there's some things happening where investors are, if they're, you know, especially on the sell side, like if they want to get a deal done and take advantage of that 1031 exchange, maybe to roll into something bigger. Folks are definitely looking to sell because they're worried, hey, what's going to happen post-election? Like, you know, I have all this equity. And so there are things happening that are good for buyers, that if we can find the right sellers. The tough thing is, though, is that, you know, there is a worry on the multifamily side of, hey, what's going to happen when stimulus money dries up, and are people going to be able to collect rents? And so I guess sellers are wanting a discount. Our buyers are wanting a discount, and sellers are still wanting premium prices. So it's just trying to figure out, how do we meet in the middle to really get deals done? Because regardless of what happens, I mean, as you know this, like, multifamily is residential real estate is a great investment for the decades. Like, people still need a place to live in cities. You know, there's such a housing shortage in our country. It's just, okay, how do we overcome maybe these next year, 2 years, and really, you know, get deals done and make it a good.
I see a lot of people moving out of some major cities. Like right now, the rental markets that are exploding is like 15 to 20 minute drives out of Kansas City, out of Minneapolis, out of LA. Yeah. So suburbia is going to be exploding, I think, for a while because of violence. You know, people are going to move away from Portland and all these city centers in New York. They're seeing a mass exodus. In fact, I was watching a TikTok. Okay, I admit I have TikTok, and I think it's funny sometimes. But a guy was walking down in downtown LA, and he said, "This is really starting to scare me." He goes, "You never see this," and he showed apartment complex after apartment complex with 1 month free mover specials. He goes, "This neighborhood, you have to get first, last, and then your current month's rent, 3 months rent, just to even look at a place like that." They don't show deals. And then it had literally moving vans up and down the side of people moving out. And so where those investors are going to struggle with coming up with new ways to attract and try to get some sort of help from the banking and our financial system to help them because of violence, you know, and things like that, and the lawsuits that are going to happen. I already see many consortiums of different, apartment complexes and investors and in businesses coming together to sue the leaders of their city for what they feel is inaction. That's happening all over the country. Yeah. So those lawsuits will go forward, and it's going to really change how we respond individually as a state, what is going to be expected of leaders in the future. But it's also creating incredible opportunities for the real estate investors that live on the outskirts, in that suburbia outskirts, where there is that 15 to 30 minute drive time commute. They are seeing, we don't have to offer a special. We have more people that are contacting 100%. Us. I mean, I've had other investors that have been on the show that have done incredible. I know Story Built out of Kansas City. They build homes. They build new homes. And they've had record sales this time because they focused before this happened on those outlying communities. They thought it would be fairly steady, and now they can't keep inventory in stock. So there's a lot going
Kansas
on right
now.
now.
A great market. We actually really like Kansas City. We're targeting some large stuff there as well on the multifamily side of things. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think tier 1 cities are, you know, for the next little bit are going to struggle. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to go away. You know, here's the thing. Right. A tier 1 city, there's international money that wants to be placed, and they don't care if it's a 2 cap, a 3 cap, meaning like a 2% return, 3% return. To get it out of China, which they're making no money, right? 0%, to place it in a tier 1 city. Don't worry about that stuff regardless, because it's typically larger institutional money buying that stuff anyways. But I think you said, for the private investors that are investing with folks like us, and looking for that above average return that they can't get in the stock market. Yeah, we're going to, I think if we can get in deals, right? I mean, that's the thing right now is, can we find opportunities? Can we, figure out how to get deals done with potential sellers? And the more we're able to do that, I think you're so right on. I think there are still some really great opportunities for those who are willing to look at alternative investments like real estate. I still think there's some real runway ahead of us. As long as you're with experienced operators and folks who know what they're doing and they got a good team and people around them, because a lot of it is changing. And I still see deals getting done where, for example, if someone's looking as a passive investor right now, say, hey, be careful on deals that there's a lot of heavy CapEx. We get late into the cycle, especially with COVID right now. We don't know what tenant or renter demand is going to be in 12 months with COVID. Be careful of deals that promise a lot of upside based on, hey, we're going to increase the rent because we're going to go put all this money in in these shared spaces or all these different amenities. I would just be careful of those kind of deals right now. We don't know what that's going to be in 12 months. So,
right.
I still think a good value add deal is great as long as that value add is directed, as to maybe interior renovations to the units, operations, figuring out how to decrease expenses. Those deals right now we really, really like.
Yeah, we have an investor, Nita. Her name's Nita, and she does multifamily as well, and they heavily invested in dashboards that consistently feed in daily data from all of the cities that they invest, and the dashboards can say, okay, so right now the hottest properties are the ones that are offering a $25 valet for trash, or this and this type of move-in. They've had an uptick of this. So technology too, when you talk about that, looking at the technology that can tell you that, because that could be the difference. So when you're doing deals like that and you talk to them, you want to be able to ask them those questions. What technology are you using in order to gauge renter interest? How is that happening? What are we looking at as far as the numbers? Because in the end, even though there's different people, like I am not I like data, but I like it to be simplified down for me. Just tell me what it is. I don't like to see copious amounts of dashboard numbers. I get confused. Right. But but as long as if you're doing a major deal and you're going to put $100 and $250 more $1,000 of your hard-earned money into something, maybe you can hire someone just to say, give me the data that you have, and have them look it over and say, what do you think? I mean,
that's the benefit of building good relationships with your operators and knowing you trust, right? I mean, here's the thing. You don't need to look at a CoStar report and do the lease audit, but you definitely should be asking the question to your operator, hey, what kind of lease auditing are you doing? How are you, do you know what tenants and where they work and their type of jobs and how, the security of their employment over the next 5 years? As long as someone's asking those questions, right? Like, I think, those are just, and by the way, I actually have a checklist. I don't necessarily promote this as well, but if someone's interested, you can just go to ellishammond.com/checklist. And then I have like all the questions you could ask an operator.
That is so valuable because 100%. You want to write that down. You do want to ask those questions and be able to write it down. And there's a difference between asking, questions that make sense. Like, audit the questions that you're asking, make sure they're appropriate to the situation. Don't just come up with a list, and try not to third degree people. The idea, we always have met, I think we've all met those types of people that are like, I'm going to be prepared. And they come up with their list and they just dog you, third degree you. And you're like, okay, I don't want to work with you, even if you have money, because this is I just feel like I am being, slaughtered here. And we're supposed to be building a relationship, Right. So there's a difference between asking appropriate questions and, weighing the responses and then going after people on their responses. Well, why didn't you do this? Well, you're supposed to be able to know that. Well, I don't know. You don't want people to be combative when you're trying to build a relationship for them. What you want to do is you want to spend more time listening to them than third degreeing them in some ways.
100%. Well, look, and like I said, I sit down for about 30 minutes with all of our investors just to talk through kind of our criteria and what we're doing. So happy to do that with anyone who has questions more about multifamily. And even if you're looking at a project, we can use that time to do that as well. But I do
that's think really nice of you to do that. That's so, guys, in case you just kind of are driving right now and you kind of glitched, Ellis is offering a chance to go to Ellis Hammond.com. That's his website. We'll have the links here with the show. And he has a checklist there that you can use, but he also can do a strategy call with you. So if you're looking at a deal right now, and if you have some questions and want to just talk more to him, take advantage of it. Building a team is important. And if you have somebody that can help you, that's really good. And who knows, y'all might build a really good relationship and end up doing a deal together or something.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're looking for opportunities to deals. I mean, we have the capital for sure. And then we're always looking for other investors to invest in some larger type stuff. So, part of this business is finding the right people to work with. And so, we're looking in Kansas City, we're looking in Tucson, we're looking in Phoenix, Albuquerque, New Mexico, we're really strong on. So, hey, if you got access to 100+ unit deals in those areas, give us a call. We can make it work. And if you want to be part of those deals as well, let's set up. EllisHammond.com is a great place. And in the book, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I would encourage anyone who this idea of, hey, I want to do more than just. I want my dollars to do more than just make a return. Like, I want my investing dollars to have multiple roles, and one of those being real impact. Mission of multifamily.com is the link to go grab that book. It's free. I want to give it to you. And I think whatever industry, especially if you're in real estate, I think it applies. But what's cool about this idea is, like, as I wrote this, I'm thinking, man, I wonder how many other industries, how many other ways we can really think about this idea of using capital to really have influence over the lives of others. So I don't think this is just a real estate thing. So if you're in another business or another field, grab this. I think it'll be really encouraging for you as you think about, how do I begin to think about making money or making more money or generating wealth in this area of my life, or using this part of my business to really expand my influence, expand my impact, and just think differently about capitalism. It's my podcast show, Kingdom Capitalist, because I think capitalism is a great tool. It's a vehicle that we can use and steward to have tremendous impact on our communities. And so,
now it's been given a dirty word. I mean, if you say that now, people are like, because there's all this negativity that's been piled onto it by the poor and bad behavior of others. But we don't have to let that sour capitalism. We don't have to let that be the end all be all of the attitude. A couple of bad apples spoiled a bunch, and what had been the most prosperous nation that helped anyone rise from poverty. We can't just do that anymore because of these people. So we have to be able to reclaim what's good with things and fix it. Fix only the bad parts. Don't fix everything if everything isn't broken. Right. So there's many ways that we can be more intentional and heart-centered entrepreneurs. It's in our power to do it. We do have the power, because we can collectively decide, we want everyone to have the chance for a home, to raise their children in a safe, warm environment. And if they want to go to college, go to college. If they want to have a vocation, they can have a vocation. And anyone has a chance to live the life that they feel best lived, that's God's purpose for them. And if we just all collectively decide that's what we want, we can all make it happen. But it starts with each of us.
And I do think, I appreciate you saying that. And then I think if those are the things that people desire, you want those opportunities, you want those freedoms, then you should be really careful about the rhetoric that you put up with, because we're moving. There's a large portion of our society that's moving away from those rights. That's saying, hey, even the opportunity, the freedom, the choice to own land is something that we shouldn't have. And so it might sound like good rhetoric, but if you like those freedoms, if you like those choices, we're in a very interesting time. And there's a thunderstorm right above.
So we're going to be probably ending this, because I've been hearing the thunder go more. Anyway, guys, we've been talking to Ellis Hammond. If you want to learn more, Ellis, tell them your 2 links, and then I'll wrap up the show.
Yeah, I mean, really simply, you already heard EllisHammond.com. That's a great place to go fill out an investor form, just to go, if you're saying, hey, I want to work with this guy. Mission of multifamily.com is where I'd love for you to go and grab the book that we're coming out. It will be out, I think, when we release this episode. So excited to get that into your hands. I'm confident you'll love it, and I look forward to hearing your feedback as well. You'll get an email from me, so feel free to reply after you download that and check it out. So thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, yes. Thanks. I can see it's already starting to rain. Okay, everybody, we're going to let Ellis run into the house now so his electronics don't get all wet. I want to thank you all for joining us here on Leafy Podcast. As always, love you guys. Good investing to all of you. And you can find us at Leafy Legal on all social media. Please give us a rating so we can continue to get out this incredible content. Have a great week. Ellis, I'll let you go get dry. Bye now.
All right.
Attention real estate investors and entrepreneurs. Did you know that real estate investors are a primary target for lawsuits? According to the National Survey of the Court data, 25% of Americans risk being sued in their lifetime. However, if you are a real estate investor, you have a 95% chance of being sued in the next 20 years. Leafy Legal Services helps you protect your assets and strategically grow your business and wealth. Leafy Legal Services are experts at the Series LLC and Delaware Statutory Trust, two of the newest and most ideal legal structures for real estate investors. Leafy Legal Services have the most personalized and affordable solutions for setting up LLCs. Property owners are always at risk when it comes to their assets. Anonymity is so important. If you own just a rental house and you own your home, you have to protect yourself and your properties from any potential legal issues. Leafy Legal Services have the right solutions to make sure you are happy and feel secure. They offer cost-effective documentation that suits their clients' needs. For a free consultation and ebook, visit LeafyLegalServices.com. They are waiting to hear from you. LeafyLegalServices.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Don't wait. Take action now. LeafyLegalServices.com. Protect your assets, grow your business, and manage your wealth.